open up the Pep-Up Tech data folder that I just created. I have 2 success files. I have this one with the 24 and this one with the 3. Now, I want to go back in and make an update to Salesforce, but I need all of my records. So now I'm going to have to merge these 2 sheets. So that's one of the reasons why sometimes people are like, I'm just going to reverse the ones that went in successfully, and I want to put these 2, I want to, make it one file so I don't have to go back and merge the 2 files. So right now what I want us to do is go and make an update to Salesforce. So open up your success file. If you have more than one success file like me, open up both of them. So here's my one success file with the 21 records. And here's my other success file with the 3 records. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these 3 records. And I'm going to add it to this success file so that I have all 24 of my records in one file. Okay, so now I want to make an update. There is a new field on our inventory object that I created called quantity. So what I want you guys to do is to navigate over, open up your success file, but I want you to navigate over to your inventory object, go to fields and relationships, and I want you to create a field called quantity. So hit new, name it quantity, and these are the values you should have. Length 18, decimal place 0. Make it available to both of your record types. So when it asks you what record type you want that field to appear on the page layout, choose both vehicle and accessory. And if you're lost or you don't know where we are, just unmute yourself and ask so I can repeat myself.
Hey, can you repeat that one more time? This is Juan.
Yep. I want you to go, Juan, were you able to get the data loader?
No, but I'm moving forward so that I can try to at least have everything together because I'm having an error on mine, but I'll be doing that when I get out of this class today. I figured out what's the reason.
Yeah, also, if you can email Cynthia, if you can help him after, like if he has questions about those steps, would you be available by email so you can help him?
Basically, the reason why it's not working for me is I have to reinstall the entire computer, so that's why it's not popping up for me.
Oh, yeah.
So if I restart, then I lose the class. I'd rather not. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Yeah, because Farah did say I think you need to restart before it shows up. All right. So go ahead and head over to the inventory object. Click on fields and relationships and create a new field called quantity. And the reason why I didn't ask you guys to do it before is because I want to walk you through the steps of what you need to do when you add a new field to Salesforce, and now you need to go ahead and update the file that you just uploaded.
Good morning, Selena.
Yeah.
It's Sam speaking. What's the data type for this quantity field?
It's number. Let me see. Yeah, it's right here. Number.
Okay.
Oops, sorry, I clicked on that by accident. It's right here on the right-hand side. I know it's really small, so hopefully you can see it, but it's right here.
Yeah, I can see it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So now what I want to do is go back over to my success file. Let's delete this column that says status, because it's just telling us that the item was created, and we don't need that column. So let's just delete it. And then I want you to add the word quantity to the end. And then I want you to write the number 1 in each, because for all of these inventory items, all of these cars, there's just one available. So I want you to add the number 1 and then copy it to all the fields in the row, in the column, to all the rows in the column. When you're done with that, I want you to file, save as, and name it update inventory. I usually name it according to the object and the action that I'm doing so that I remember to select it. So like if I'm updating records, I put update. If I'm uploading records, I put upload in the title. And then when you're done with that, just save it. So now what we want to do is we want to go back into the data loader and we want to re-upload this file, but we only want to update that quantity field. So what I'm going to ask, what I want you guys to know is that whenever you add a new field to Salesforce and you're already in the data loader is not automatically synced to Salesforce in real time. It's a third-party, standalone desktop application. So you need to log out of it and log back in if you go and add a new field. Because if we go right now and try to update this file in Salesforce, the quantity field is not going to show up as a value because we need to reset. Data loader doesn't know that we just went to Salesforce and created a new field. So what you guys need to do is go to your data loader and log out of it. So click file and log out and then log back in. So I'm not going to complete that step because I created my field previously. So data loader knows that I have that field in there. But for you guys, they don't know because you just created the field. To log back in, I want you guys to click update this time. Not insert, we want update. And then we're going to go back to our inventory object and we're going to look for that update file that we just created. I'm going to hit next. The 24 records looks accurate. That's what I have in my file. And now I'm not going to choose the existing map this time because I only want to update the quantity field. So I'm going to go ahead and find the quantity field and I'm going to map it to my Excel file. And now, because we're doing an update, we have to use that ID. Remember we talked about that ID that Salesforce automatically creates and puts into the success file? Whenever you upload new records to Salesforce and Salesforce sends you a success file, it's going to add a column in column A. And it's going to be called simply ID. That is the ID of that record in Salesforce. So going forward, any changes that you want to make to that record has to have the ID in it. When you upload an Excel file for the first time, right, our original inventory object, this, we don't need an ID because there is no ID. The data doesn't exist in Salesforce. When you hit that upload button, what is it called? Upload? Insert. When you hit that insert button, Salesforce is going to give you a success file and it's going to add the ID. So now you have that ID. And that ID is what you're going to use anytime you want to use the data loader to batch load data into that record or update. Maybe the price has changed. Maybe, whatever, the third row seat, maybe there's some option that's changed, right? And you want to go back and do a batch update. If you want to batch update the records, you need the ID. Why? Because Salesforce will not accept this without you mapping that ID. So you need to go ahead and find that ID field. It's just going to be simply called ID. And then you're going to map it to your ID field in your Excel file that Salesforce gave to you, right? Because Salesforce gave you a new CSV file that automatically populated the ID and it's called ID. And it just so happens that in Salesforce, the name of that unique ID field is ID. So you just want to grab ID, map it to ID, and then map quantity. Before I hit that upload button, I'm going to switch quickly back to Salesforce. go to my inventory object. I'm going to click all inventory. And as you guys can see, I have all those records that I just uploaded. So I just need to select the fields to display because this isn't telling me anything, right? I can't see anything. I want to see the type of car it is. I want to see the year. I want to see the record type so I know it's a vehicle. I want to see whatever, the color, the make, and the model. So these are all the records. Oh, I'm going to add quantity. So these are all the records that I just uploaded, except for the accessory. That was there already. I'm going to put quantity in here. So you guys see that my quantity field is blank for all of the new ones I just edited. I just added all of these records, right? And I'm like, holy crap, I forgot to put the quantity in. So that's what we're doing right now. We want to update this quantity. I have two of them that have quantity in here because I created these records before class to test it. But we can see that all the ones that I just uploaded using Data Loader are missing the quantity field. So now I'm going to go ahead and click OK on my data load and hit next. Want to make sure that it's still putting those data files into my PepperTech data folder. And I'm going to hit finish and hit next. And hopefully I don't get any errors. So here I have no errors. Good. That's okay. So now I'm going to go back to my list view and refresh it. And now I should have the quantities updated on all of my inventory items. So now I can see that all of the new inventory items that I just created all have the quantity in it, except this used BMW that I created. I didn't put a quantity in this one, so I can go ahead and edit that record and add the quantity for that one. So go back to your inventory list view and select the fields to display so that you can see your list view the same way that I'm showing it here. So go to inventory, click the drop down on all, and then you should see all your vehicles. Go ahead and add these headers by clicking the icon here and click select fields to display, and then put your headers here. Then one additional thing I'm gonna have you guys do is let's create, right now we only have a list view for all and recently viewed. Let's create one that's just all vehicles. Because if you notice, my list has the accessory and it has vehicles. And for accessory, it has type, year, color, make, and model. None of those fields apply to the accessory. So that makes no sense. So let's go ahead and click the drop down here and let's clone this. And let's create a new list view and call it all vehicles. And then I'm going to make it accessible to all users because I want all my sales reps to be able to see the all vehicles list view. I don't only want to create it for myself. So now, I forgot to put a filter. So now we have this new list view created. So in order to get rid of the accessory, we need to put a filter on this new list view that we just created. So we're going to click add filter. And then we're going to say record type. So we're going to use the inventory record type field. And we want to say equals vehicles only. And then remember up here, we want to make sure it says all inventory. Because if we put my inventory, when our staff logs in, they're not going to see all the vehicles. They're only going to see the vehicles that have them as the owner. So remember we talked about that owner field? This is where it matters. Right? If we want to create list views for our users, because a lot of times you might work at a company where there's, like, say there's 50,000 vehicles at this car dealership. right? But I'm Selena and I'm responsible just for the Acuras, and there's 50 Acuras, right? I don't want to see a list of 50,000 vehicles that I don't care about. They have nothing to do with my job. I only want to see the ones that I'm responsible for, right? So like if I'm a teacher at a school, I don't want to see, you know, the 2,000 kids at the school. I want to see the students, the 25 students in my classroom. So in order to do that, you would add the teacher as the owner of that record, right? So that when they click, when you create list views and you select my inventory, they are only going to see the records that are assigned to them. So here we're gonna click all because we want everybody to see everything. So it's whatever. We have our record type equals vehicle, and we're gonna hit save. And now we have a nice list view that only shows us all of the vehicles that we have in our database. So I have one used vehicle and a whole bunch of new ones. Everybody still with me at this point? If you're not, just unmute yourself, ask questions.
Hey Selena.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first went to the inventories tab, like all the inventories were there, like all the things we uploaded. But after I made the new list view, like only the two that I had before are there now.
So you need to check your filters. So click on the list view that you're looking at.
Okay.
Are you looking at recently viewed, or are you looking what are you looking at?
All vehicles.
Here it says all vehicles. What does it say here on the right hand side?
Nothing.
Okay, so click the drop down here and click edit filters.
Okay.
Now what does it say here on the right hand side?
It said record type equals vehicle.
Okay, so did you, when you uploaded your data, did you put the record type ID? Because if you didn't, it's not going to show up.
I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did.
So look at your file
Mm-hmm.
and look at your record type IDs and make sure that they're correct on your inventory.
Okay.
So go to the back end and click on record type and look at vehicle and make sure that the record type in the URL is the record type that's in your file.
Okay. All right, I'll do that now. Thank you.
And if it's wrong,
Yeah.
then you need to go correct your Excel file and then go back in the data loader to update the record type IDs. Because
Okay.
if you are looking at the same screen that I'm looking at and your filter says vehicle and this says all inventory, the only thing that could be wrong with your file is you have the wrong record type ID in your file.
Okay. All right, makes sense.
You might have put the record type ID for accessories.
Oh, okay. All right,
That's
thank
okay.
you.
It's an easy fix. And
Yeah.
it's good to make like little mistakes like that because then you learn how to fix them. So
Yeah.
go back to the back end, grab the correct record type ID, update your file, and then do an update in data loader.
Okay.
Anybody else have any issues or anything like that?
Yes, Selena. Actually, I have 3 records that were not updated because of I selected silver color and it didn't take it. So I changed it to the gray. And when I try to upload again, I can't.
Okay. When you uploading it again, do you have the ID in your file?
No.
It has to have the ID. If it doesn't,
Actually,
remember you
I
can.
have the. Okay. Yeah, I have record type ID for those 3 records.
Not record type ID. You need that ID field. The ID field in your success file. So go back to your success file. You'll know it's your success file because Salesforce would have created a column called ID. You need that ID in order to make an update. So if 3 of the ones with the color are wrong, you need this ID associated with the ones that are wrong. So like say for instance, this was wrong. And I want to make an update. I want to change this to gray.
Okay, I got the success ID, I think.
You need
Items
this.
good. But I have 2 different, many different kind of IDs.
Yeah, because the record type ID was what we used in the first upload, so that we can upload the vehicle to the correct record type, right? We didn't want it uploading as accessory. We wanted it to upload as vehicle. This ID is the actual record ID that you need to make updates to Salesforce.
Okay, so I have 3 different success files. 2 of them are blank, and the one that has the data.
Right, you should have 2 success files, one that says error and one that says success. So you need to look at the success file.
Like I have 3 files that says success.
So if you have 3 files that say success, it's because
And 2 of them is blank.
Right, because that means that you uploaded data through. So this is what Salesforce does. Every time you do a data load, it throws you back a success file and an error file. If all of your records errored out, it's still going to send you a success file. It's just going to be blank.
Oh, hold on. I have an error file. Hold on. There's one error file.
So that's important for you guys to know. Like, regardless of what happens with the data load, you're always going to get one success file and one error file. What's going to happen if your file errors out, your success files will be blank. If your file has 10 successes and 10 errors, you're going to have 10 on each. If your file has 0 errors, it's going to be blank, and your success file is going to have everything. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so that's important to know, and that's a great question, and it's good for you guys to recognize that, right? Like, remember I made that mistake? You see my files here? These are all my files. You see this error file has nothing in it because I didn't make any errors in that load, but then the corresponding success file, see, it's blank. That means I had no errors in that data load, that particular data load that I just did.
But where can I get the ID from?
The ID is always in your success file.
Okay.
The ID is never going to be in your error file, right? Because it was an error.
Yeah, okay, so I have to open the success.
And the ID is going to sit on your success file. Now, if you created a data load and then you were trying to update something and then it errored out for some reason, then that file would have your ID. But if you're doing a upload for the first time, an insert, right? You're not going to see an ID in your error file because that record doesn't exist in Salesforce yet.
So in that case, what ID I have to use?
ID, the field that says ID.
Okay.
There's only one ID.
One ID.
Right? There's only one field that's going to be called ID. Record type ID is a totally different thing. It's called record type ID. But we're not looking for record type ID. This record type ID is a number, right? But this number, it's like learning a new language, right? This 0121U000JNWC. Does anybody know what that number corresponds to? What does that mean in English? This number.
That's the vehicle.
Vehicle. That's all it is. It's just that Salesforce, like data systems, can't read English, right? They can't read vehicle. They need a number so that they can associate that number to the ID of that record type in Salesforce. So that's all that is. This is just saying, this is a vehicle, this is a vehicle, this is a vehicle, this is a vehicle, this is a vehicle. That's all that's saying. This ID is saying, this is like a social security number. Like if this was a database, if I was uploading contacts and this was Farah and this was Jennifer and this was Selena and there's another Selena in the class and another Selena in the class, how is Salesforce going to know which Selena it is, right? The unique ID is what's going to tell us. That's why we have social security numbers, right? It's the way that no 2 people have the same social security number. That's how the government can track you. That's how your credit report is tracked. That's how all of this stuff that happens to you in life is affiliated back to you, the person, right? Because we can't use name. Name is not a unique identifier. Name and birth date is not a unique identifier. You could totally meet another person on the planet that has the same name and birth date as you. That's the same age as you. It could happen, right? But you're never going to meet somebody that has the same social security number. So there's no chance for error. That's why Salesforce has to create a unique ID for every record that you put in Salesforce. because if we go back, you know, if you look at our database, right, if we go and take a look at our database, this list view I just created, I'm going to sort it by model, right? How many Acura IXLs do I have here? There's 6 of them. How do I know one is not the same as the other? If I say go update the Acura IXL, I could literally have the Acura IXL. They could be the same color. They could be the same exact year. They could be the same exact price, but they're 3 different vehicles. So the only way I'm going to know which one is which is by having a unique identifier. That unique identifier is going to tell me which is the exact one that belongs to this one. So if Farah buys car number 1 and I buy car number 2 and Jennifer buys car number 3, we want to make sure that we are assigned the right car, because Farah might have paid for upgrades. Right? She might have bought the Acura with the tech package, and then Jennifer got updated wheels, and I got the standard base one because I wanted the least expensive one. Right? We don't want to mix their cars up because they're all custom to that person. So they have a unique identifier. Anybody else have any issues that they ran into? I want to make sure that we answer your questions. If you had an error with the data file, it's really important to know how to upload data into Salesforce. A lot of people who interview for entry-level roles in Salesforce get asked questions about this, right? Like, how do you use it and how do you upload data? One of the things I also want to mention is, Andrew, last week you talked about creating that field dependency. So I was curious as to whether or not you had a chance to go in and update the field dependency for the used cars. And the other thing that I want to say to you guys is, if you would like to practice data loading, you can go ahead and create another spreadsheet for used vehicles. Like, you can get sample data from the COG and Acura website, just like we did for the new vehicles. Then go ahead and upload some used vehicles in Salesforce, right? Like, create more data. I would love to see you guys just create more data. That will help you start to understand how all of this stuff is linked together. On Friday, when we come back to class, we're going to do some reports and dashboards, because I want you guys to see how this all then rolls up into reports. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a lookup field to the opportunity that allows us to link a person. So I'm going to show you, let me find my inventory that has a person on it. It is, I don't remember, hold on, opportunities. I created a purchase order for Andy Young, who's a contact in my system. So we're going to go ahead and create the field that links inventory to opportunity. So here, Andy Young came into the dealership and he bought 2 things. He bought a vehicle and he bought 4 new Michelin tires. I have to update the list views because I didn't add the fields.